Today our verse is Daniel chapter 3 verse 34. For your name's sake, do not give us up utterly and do not break your covenant. Our verse today is one you may not find in every Bible. It is taken from the Prayer of Azaria, recorded in the Septuagint, that is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. In the Hebrew Bible, we read about the story of the three young men thrown into the fire by King Nebuchadnezzar. Read Daniel chapter 3, 19 to 30. In the Septuagint, the Prayer of Azaria continues from Daniel chapter 3 verse 34. Azariah was one of the boys, the four Hebrew boys, together with Daniel, Hananiah, and Mishael, we read about in Daniel chapter 1, 1 to 19. Their names were changed if you read Daniel chapter 1 verse 7. King Nebuchadnezzar had set up an image of gold to be worshipped by all the people in his empire. This message was sent to all the provinces, that everyone was to fall down and worship the image that the king had set up. Read Daniel chapter 3, 1 to 7. But Hananiah, that is Shadrach, Mishael, that is Meshach, and Azariah, that is Abednego, refused to worship the image. They were reported to King Nebuchadnezzar, who ordered them to worship the image. The three young men refused, and the king was furious and commanded that they be thrown into the blazing furnace. The furnace was to be made hotter 7 times than usual. The fire was so hot that the fire killed the men who threw these three young men into the fire. While inside the fire, they were walking, not burnt, and there was a 4th creature with them that looked like an angel. Then Azariah opened his mouth in the midst of the fire and offered his prayer to God. Our verse says, for your name's sake, do not give us up utterly and do not break your covenant. I'd like to draw your attention to 2 points in this verse. The first one is, these men still recognized God's presence in the midst of the fire. They have always served God and continued to serve Him even inside the fire. The name of God was on their lips, and they challenged God to act for the sake of His name they have always upheld in their lives. It was because of the defense of God's name that they were thrown into the fire. The second point is, they were confident that God would not abandon them in the fire, so they prayed even inside the fire. Their prayer in our verse is, do not give us up and do not break your covenant. These men prayed that God does not deliver them to the enemy's power, asking God to remember His covenant of protecting and defending His people. The covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob always resounded on the lips of the people of Israel. And that is why in the next verse, Azariah says, do not withdraw your mercy from us for the sake of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. What lessons do we draw from this verse? Fire in this context symbolizes pain, destruction, suffering. But the three young men turned the fire into a thing of celebrating God. Rather than allow the fire to burn them, they turned the fire to praise of God. You may be in a particular fire at this time. Can you call on God in the midst of the fire and turn it into a song of praise to God? Those who put these men in the fire were burnt, but the three men were safe. Someone may have put you in the present circumstances you are. Why not commit them to God rather than seek revenge yourself? Lord, remember your people in any fire, whatever pain they may be in. For your name's sake, please do not give them up and do not break your covenant of protecting and defending us. Amen. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.